The emergency siren was already screaming before anyone reached the station. Inside the storm, an old radio repeated a countdown that matched no known weather alert. The entrance door stood open even though the station had been sealed for decades. Fresh muddy footprints disappeared into complete darkness. A radio suddenly crackled alive. The voice calmly announced that one flashlight would fail within 30 seconds. Exactly 30 seconds later, the brightest flashlight went dark. No battery problem could explain it. The team laughed nervously until the radio predicted another event. It warned that someone would unlock a door nobody remembered seeing. The hidden door opened into a flooded hallway buried beneath the station. None of the building plans included it. The old caretaker quietly admitted he had never entered this corridor. Yet he somehow knew exactly where it led. Before anyone could question him, the radio predicted another countdown. This time it ended with the words, "Do not look behind you." Everyone resisted except one investigator. He turned around and froze as every wall clock stopped at exactly the same second. The voice returned one final time before falling silent. "The station has noticed you," it whispered, as every exit door slammed shut. Every exit remained locked despite having no visible power. Then the radio announced, "One of you has already been here before." The caretaker denied ever entering the underground levels, but an old security monitor displayed footage of him walking those halls years earlier. The recording ended abruptly with heavy static. Seconds later, distant footsteps echoed beneath the floor, moving in perfect rhythm. The team followed the sound into a narrow relay tunnel. The footsteps stopped the moment they arrived. A fresh message interrupted the silence. "Do not cross the yellow line unless invited." Nobody remembered seeing a yellow line before. As they stepped closer, the painted stripe slowly stretched across the tunnel as though it had just been applied. The walls vibrated softly. Ignoring the warning, one investigator crossed the line. Every radio in the station erupted with the same burst of static. The tunnel lights flashed once. When they returned, the path behind the group had disappeared beneath a solid concrete wall. The radio calmly announced another prediction. "In 2 minutes, someone will discover the room that should never have existed." A hidden steel panel slid open by itself, revealing a massive chamber filled with silent transmitters that were still warm to the touch. The countdown began again. Thousands of indicator lights blinked in perfect sequence without any external power. The radio whispered, "The station is remembering." The bearded investigator noticed every transmitter carried a scratched date instead of a serial number. None of the dates belonged to the station's construction. The braided-haired investigator opened a maintenance cabinet and found dozens of audio tapes carefully labeled with unknown names. Every tape looked recently handled. One tape began playing by itself. The recording described the team's exact conversation before they spoke another word. The group immediately stopped talking. Even in silence, the recording continued predicting movements that had not yet happened. The caretaker quietly admitted the bunker had once tested experimental emergency broadcasts. He insisted the project ended after an unexplained overnight evacuation. A steel map hanging on the wall no longer matched the tunnels they had explored. New corridors had appeared where solid rock should have been. The radio interrupted again. "Do not enter Corridor 7. There was no Corridor 7 on the map moments earlier. Curiosity outweighed caution. The group found a freshly painted sign reading, Corridor 7, even though the concrete beneath it looked decades old. As they crossed the threshold, every radio fell silent for the first time. From somewhere ahead, a human voice softly called one investigator's name. The voice echoed again, this time from directly behind the group. When they turned around, the tunnel was empty. A faint humming spread through the walls. Every metal surface vibrated as though a massive machine had awakened deep beneath the mountain. The investigator with glasses discovered fresh boot prints leading deeper underground. They matched the exact tread pattern on his own boots. The radio suddenly returned. Those tracks were made tomorrow. Silence followed before the signal vanished again. A heavy blast door slowly unlocked by itself. Beyond it waited a control room that looked untouched since the day it had been abandoned. Dust covered every console except one. Someone, or something, had recently wiped it perfectly clean. The clean console powered itself on. A live camera feed displayed the team entering the station several hours earlier. The caretaker quietly admitted there had never been surveillance cameras at the station. Yet every angle appeared impossible to fake. Without warning, one monitor switched to a live image of the emergency generator chamber. Someone was already standing inside. The image zoomed closer by itself. The stranger wore the same green field jacket as the team's leader but kept their face hidden beneath the shadows. The team rushed toward the generator chamber. By the time they arrived, the room was empty, yet the generators were already running at full capacity. Fresh footprints circled every generator before ending at a solid concrete wall. There was nowhere left for anyone to go. The wall emitted a low mechanical pulse. A hidden seam slowly appeared across its surface. The concealed passage led into a narrow shaft lined with abandoned communication cables. Cold air drifted upward from somewhere far below. The radio crackled once more. "Leave one light behind." No one understood why. Ignoring the instruction, they carried every flashlight with them. Seconds later, every beam dimmed at exactly the same moment. Only a faint emergency bulb remained ahead. Around it, dozens of abandoned radios hung from the ceiling on rusted wires. Every radio activated together, each one played the same sentence in a different voice. "You're almost where we began."